Hello everybody, what is going on? This is Marcus and we are back for another episode of Mark Us on Top, where we will go online on Battlespot and play just a couple of games. For today's episode, as you just suggested in the comments of my previous videos, I will be going back to the Kyogre Dialga Trick Room team. I have quite a few of games with this team in like battle videos that I saved when I was playing in a mid-season showdown just recently. However, I didn't get to upload any of those games yet, so I figured it probably would be, like more interesting for you if I'm actually live commentating over a game with this team, and so yep, here we are. My rating currently 1676 with a record of 14 wins and 2 losses, as we're finding a first opponent of the day from Japan with a rating of 1663. Who's running a team that consists of, that's probably... like once again, the most common duo and restricted mons, Groudon and Xerneas. However, like no Kangaskhan or Smeargle and so on. However, like Mega Salamence and then potentially Mega Gengar. If you see a Leopard in the preview, then you can probably pretty safely assume that it is Mega Gengar, since together they can pull off some interesting tricks with like Encore and Disable. So, in this matchup, getting up Trick Room might be a little bit difficult, since Leopard and Crobat can try to go for a taunt. There's always the threat of Encore from the Leopard, and so it might be difficult. Especially, like if Gengar is next to the Leopard and goes for its Mega Evolution, and you're going for Trick Room, the next turn you cannot switch out, so you will be forced to go for another Trick Room by Encore. So I want to be aware of that. But what do we lead? I do think Dialga is a pretty solid choice against my opponent's team just in general. And I do also think that Landorus can probably help it set up a little bit. Now, if we do see the Gengar, I can probably like U-turn out. So yeah, that should be good. I mean, we definitely want Kyogre, and I do think that we want to go with Cresselia here, just because of its ability to go for the skill swaps and to make sure that our weather is up and going. So yeah, that's what we're trying here. Kangaskhan would have been nice, but being trapped in by Mega Gengar is not really good. And depending on what his Primal Groudon set is about, like if it's very bulky, then Kangaskhan can't really do too much. And so that's what we're doing. Let's see what my opponent decides to do. We would expect the Leopard and potentially the Gengar. Yep, that is exactly what my opponent does. We didn't really have like a great way to counter this lead. So, but I do think Dialga and Landorus probably give us our best chances here. So I do want to go for the U-turn on Landorus, probably. And as I said, I can't really go for the Trick Room on my Dialga, because if we do that, the next turn we will just get Encored, and we cannot switch out thanks to Shadow Attack, so I need to get rid of that Gengar as soon as possible is what I'm thinking right now. So I do think going for the Dragon Pulse and maybe just the Earthquake could be something to consider. Or I could also just double up into the Leopard. Okay, so we do have Cresselia and Kyogre. Yeah, I'm guessing he wouldn't just go for the Protect, but then again, maybe he does. Okay. Yeah, I'm going after the Leopard this turn. The reasoning is that potentially his Gengar might want to go for a Protect here to make sure that it can survive like the Earthquake, for example. So yeah, I do think getting rid of the Leopard is a good thing to do. But we do see the no Protect, but the Fake Out on the Dialga, and that actually is pretty nice, as our Landorus is guaranteed to get up the Earthquake. However, unfortunately, one of the rare occasions where the opponent's Mega Gengar is actually carrying Will-O-Wisp. Not that common anymore, I would think, but here it works out really nicely for my opponent, as Landorus' attack set is cut in half, so that is obviously a good thing for my opponent, and bad for us. So yeah, I touched on this in like one other video already, but I want to mention it again. I do think that you really have to think about using Will-O-Wisp twice in this format, because it's so fast-paced. You want to trade knockouts like all the time, and the very powerful attackers like Kyogre, Xerneas, and Groudon, they cannot be inflicted, or like they can be inflicted, but they don't mind being burned too much, and yeah, Groudon cannot be burned in its primal form. So, not sure if Will-O-Wisp is worth it, but right here it definitely makes sense. Now, we have to predict what is coming out. There could be a Protect coming out, there could be Disable coming out, so I don't want to take any risks, and, whoops. And I just want to go for a Dragon Pulse onto that Gengar. But let's see what the Leopard goes for. Okay, so we do see the Fake Tears on the Landorus. Now, yeah, with that Shadow Ball, that should definitely take out my Lando. So, yeah, that's why I didn't want to go for the Trick Room right here. Since then, yeah, once again, Encore is a threat. But looking at my opponent's Leopard, after he has already revealed Fake Out and Fake Tears, I'm not even sure if he's running Encore, but you can never be too sure, so going for the Dragon Ball is probably the safe play right there. So I could send in my Kyogre right now, predicting him to go into his Groudon, but yeah, I don't think we would see his Xerneas coming in though, so maybe Kyogre could be a good choice here. Really tough to say. I could also go into Cresselia, but then we are stuck with like no offensive pressure whatsoever. Huh. Yeah, it's really tough sometimes. If he sends out like Crobat or something, then Cresselia would be really bad. But yeah, I do think maybe going for Kyogre is my best play after all. Since, yeah, my opponent likely going to send out his Groudon, and since my Kyogre is so slow, I should be winning like the Weather War here, and so yeah, he Primal evolves first, which means that my yeah, like Heavy Storms, my rain will go up, which is obviously good. And then I can go for like an Origin Pulse and the Trick Room finally. Now, another thing to consider would be roleplay on my opponent's Leopard, but we've already seen Fake Tears, and most of the time you don't really have the slot because you want to have Foul Play as an attacking move most of the time, since, yeah, without it you're pretty much like bait for taunt, and I don't know, like, you just can't do much, you know? Offensively at least, so let's see here. Yeah, I do think going for the Trick Room is probably now is the time, if ever, to go for the Trick Room. And then, I could go for the Water Spout actually. But, yeah, he could like have Thunder or something, that would be bad. So, yeah, I don't know, I'm just going for the Origin Pulse in case he heavy damages me. And he actually stays in with that Groudon, so well, let's see where that is heading. As we do see the Fake Tears come out, and the Earth Bar, yeah, but that is not going to be enough to knock out my Dialga, and wouldn't have been able to knock out my Kyogre either, so yeah, clutch survive here by that Dialga, but I kinda already gave away that we should be able to take this. Origin Pulse hits the Groudon, but misses the Leopard, so the threat of like Encore is still there, but yeah, thankfully we survived the Trick Room here. Now, a play my opponent could have made here was to go for the Fake Tears and Earth Power my Dialga to ensure that Trick Room doesn't go up. However, yeah, like, implying Origin Pulse would have hit the Leopard, then he would have been left with only 2 Mons, so... Yeah, like... with only 1 Mon, sorry, so I should have been able to wrap up this game even if he prevented the Trick Room from coming up. However, his last Mon here is Xerneas, and you can't ever, like, rule out losing if your opponent still has Xerneas, so I have to still make the right move this turn, I think. Since, once again, Encore wouldn't make it so that I have to go for another Trick Room, and I'm expecting Protect from that Xerneas and a potential Encore. Like that would be like the only thing that I could see happening that could win my opponent the game. We do see the Protect coming out, and there is the Encore. So yeah, switching out there with Dialga definitely still like important move to make. Because if I didn't do that, then Trick Room would have been reversed, and Dialga was locked into Trick Room. So next turn he could have gone, for a Moonblast and another Fake Tears to knock out my Kyogre, or go for the Geomancy, and then I have to make the right move again, and so on. So there was definitely a potential for a comeback for my opponent. But yeah, we should be good here. So just going for Helping Hand Water Spout should win us the game right here. Yeah, good game. Also something I didn't mention but I could have done is lead with Cresselia and go for the Trick Room with that, because since Helping Hand's priority is greater than Encore's from like the Prankster, you can go for Trick Room and then you can go for Helping Hand, and even if they Encore you, like they Encore you into Helping Hand and not Trick Room, so you don't have to like reverse the Trick Room or anything. So yeah, that's also something I could have done to set up Trick Room, but I figured Dialga with the offensive pressure of Dragon Pulse was probably my better choice here. So, pretty clean first game, and let's see who our opponent is going to be for the second game of this episode, and whether they have like more tricks to prevent Trick Room from going up. But yeah, Gengar and Leopard, pretty common in VGC 16, I would say, since yeah, they can create so many options for the heavy hitters. For example, if you get like Encored into something and then you're trapped, then maybe like their Xerneas comes in and goes for Geomancy, and so on. So we're finding our first opponent over the 1700s, 17 and 12, Magma from Japan, and he has an interesting Ray Ogre team featuring a variety of the mons that commonly are paired up with those two. Since you have Rayquaza as the Mega evolution, you can like forego another Mega, though some people tend to also go for like dual Mega options, since Rayquaza, like, you don't have to Mega it. But yeah, my opponent here with Weavile, Thundurus, Ferrothorn, and Crobat as the supporting squad. So Weavile is So Ferrothorn in rain is definitely concerning. Weavile also concerning, but not as much, since my only way of reliably hitting it is yeah, like Kangaskhan's low kick. I think I mentioned that earlier as well, but that is definitely one of the biggest weaknesses of this team, so I have to watch out a lot for it, and I actually want to go with my Kangaskhan and Dialga, because those are the only two mons on my team that can actually really pressure the Ferrothorn. I could also go for Landorus, but I don't have superpower in this one, and if he decides to bring out his Weavile, for example, that would be bad. However, yeah, overall I do like Landorus actually, so maybe I want to switch things up or like not switch things up, but go with the same thing once again. And then we would have Kangaskhan and Kyogre in the back. Yeah, you know what, I actually like that quite a bit. We don't need Cresselia in this matchup, since my opponent also has Kyogre, so there's like no skill swapping necessary or anything. And I don't think Amoonguss is that great against a team that has like Mega Rayquaza, it has Crobat, Thundurus with the potential Prankster Taunt, and also Ferrothorn that can't get Spored. So my opponent has the offensive and the defensive tools to deal with Amoonguss. So once again, we're finding ourselves here with a Dialga and Landorus lead against my opponent's Crobat and Weavile. And yep, that is why I thought on like last occasion that maybe Landorus is not that bad here in this matchup, since Intimidate coming off onto the Weavile is definitely nice, and now there's like Rock Slide threatening, I could go for the potential explosion, so there's like a lot more my opponent has to consider right here. So what I want to do, I could just go for the Trick Room, since I don't think -1 low kick from Weavile should knock me out after a Super Fang, but that is a play my opponent could make, going for the double up here. Yeah, I would have expected him to bring Ferrothorn, to be completely honest, but looks like maybe he didn't bring Ray. There's also something to consider. So yeah, we're going with the Trick Room, and then I do think just switching out into Kangaskhan is probably something I could do. I want to conserve Landorus just for the moment, and if my opponent decides to, yeah, like take it out with a nice type attack, then I want to be prepared for that. But maybe we could also see like just a Fake Out and Taunt coming out, since yeah, like Scarf Landorus could be something, but nope. We're just seeing the taunt, so yeah, I should have just attacked, I guess, with Dialga, and there's the Icicle Crash as well. So Dragon Pulse with Dialga would have been a nice play here, but unfortunately we didn't do that, or I didn't do. And it's actually Life Orb on that Weavile, interesting to know. Okay, so now we're threatening Fake Out on the Weavile, and just I just want to stay in here with Dialga at this point and just go for a Dragon Pulse, I guess. I could also Flamethrower that Weavile though. However, yeah, he might just protect, so I guess Dragon Pulsing the Crobat probably what I should do here. And yep, going for the Fake Out on the Weavile. Maybe he switches back the Weavile, but nope, that's not what he does. Yeah, in case we would have seen like a Rayquaza here instead of the Crobat, then I would have expected the Ferrothorn to be in the back, so then it could have been a move to go for the Flamethrower on that slot, or like the next turn, but since my opponent just has Crobat and Weavile, maybe they just have, yeah, just their two restricted mons in the back. And we're reducing the Super Fang coming out here on the Dialga, and let's see how much this Dragon Pulse is going to do. Probably not too much, but actually, yeah, that's quite a bit of damage. So I'm guessing this Crobat probably opted to invest a little bit into the defense to take hits from Kangaskhan a little bit better. Now, I still think Sucker Punch should be able to pick up the KO here, So something I could do is go for the Sucker Punch on the Crobat, predicting another Super Fang. However, would that really be worth it for my opponent to go for Super Fang here? Maybe. Yeah, maybe he needs that damage. So I do think Flamethrower and and Sucker Punch could bring us in a good position, depending on what my opponent does here. And nice, Sucker Punch actually comes out here, so my opponent went for the Super Fang and Sucker Punch enough to knock out the Crobat, obviously. So depending on what his Weavile does, we might... Yes, nice, the knockoff coming out onto the Dialga. We will definitely be able to survive that. And Flamethrower should be able to bring us in a 4-2 lead position. Since, yeah, Weavile goes down, and that turn really went perfectly. I'm guessing he probably doubled up there into that Dialga with another Super Fang and the knockoff, and that definitely would have KO'd it. On top of everything, also the taunt wore off on Dialga, so my opponent has to consider Trick Room being a potential play here. And we do see Rayquaza and Kyogre coming out from my opponent. So yep, no Ferrothorn, which is a little bit interesting, as I do think Ferrothorn one of the biggest threats to my team, really. But yeah, this game still far from being over, since Rayquaza and Kyogre, the two of them pose so much offensive pressure, so I definitely have to watch out. Yeah, we weren't able to set up Trick Room, and my Kangaskhan is not max speed, so I'm probably not outspeeding his Kyogre. So, yeah, I have to come up with something. I think I probably want to switch in my Kyogre for Kangaskhan and just sack off Dialga, since it's probably not going to do much anyway. Yeah, I could just try and set up a Trick Room, since maybe he suspects me to be max speed on Kangaskhan, and I don't know, maybe wants to protect his Rayquaza before Mega Evolving, but yeah, he really should just attack, I guess. And yeah, you have to go into Kyogre, since I do think that Dialga is going down, and then Landorus is probably my win condition in this game, since there's still like Intimidate will be on that, going on to that Rayquaza, and depending on the split, Choice Band Explosion actually has a chance to knock out his Kyogre. So that might be what this game could come down to. I'm just hoping that yeah, manage to hit the explosion I need to hit. But let's see. So yeah, Mega Rayquaza obviously coming out here will get rid of the rain, which is not something that really hinders me, since I'm not packing like I mean, I do have Rock Slide, but yeah, I'm not really like, I don't know, like I have to rely on the rain being up here, so it's fine sacking off Kyogre, and he just goes for the Dragon Ascent. Yep, good play by my opponent. He should target down that Kyogre, which was the Kangaskhan. Yep, that is what he does, but thanks to a lot of defense investment that I have, I can take that relatively well. But that still did a lot of damage, and we're seeing the Water Spout come out here. And with how much damage that did, and since he did not have any like Life Orb recoil, this might actually be choice banned on that Rayquaza. This might be choice banned Rayquaza. I would have to run calcs, but I know that you can definitely like take Life Orb relatively well with this split. Or maybe Rayquaza is just so powerful. Yeah, we also... Yeah, you need quite a lot of investment to take that Life Orb Dragon Ascent. So I can't really tell from the damage. Yeah, I should know these calcs, but there is a chance, I think, that he is choice banned. So what do I want to send in here? I do think Lando is probably my best pick. Yeah, okay, so we did not see the Life Orb. So this could be Sash or it's Choice Band. I really should know by the damage it did. But my Kyogre split is like a little bit different from anything I used before, since it has like almost max defense and max HP. So the question is, do I just risk it and go for the explosion right here? Or do I try and go for like a Rock Slide? Yeah, you know what? I think I have to risk it. I think I have to risk it and go for the explosion. This could be a big turn. There's the Protect from Rayquaza. He's Sash. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I probably lost this unless we can KO this Kyogre. Ah, so he's Sash after all. Yeah. I wasn't really sure. Like, then maybe he's not max attack or something. Or no, he has to be max attack. What am I saying? Okay, yeah, let's just see how much explosion does to that Kyogre. And it actually gets the KO, so we will probably still, yeah, we will still win if he doesn't get like the double protect. Wow, okay, so my Kyogre is pretty bulky, or I hope I took the bulky one. Like maybe, yeah, I should check the stats after all. Maybe I took the like max special attack one, but I thought this would be the bulky one. Yeah, I should check that. So anyway, this is elite to take like, what is it even supposed to take? Like, takes physical attacks like way better. And I thought that Dragon Ascent like wouldn't do as much. Yeah, he doesn't get the double protect fortunately, so we will be able to, yeah, steal this game, I guess, with the explosion that manages to KO his Kyogre, since yeah, his Kyogre probably wasn't like any bulky, like he was just timid, max special attack and max speed most likely. And whoo, what a nail-biting finish here. So yeah, I have to go back to check this Kyogre summary, and yeah, not really sure why did he do that much damage, like for Sash on non-life orb or anything. Or maybe he had no. There's no way he had like any other item. So anyway, somehow we managed to win that second game as well. And I wanna like comment on the comment of the day just real quick, since I thought Voided Note deserved to be mentioned here, as he was giving like good advice below my last videos. Yeah, thanks to you. And Seed Bomb is definitely something to consider on Ferrothorn, and it's actually something, yeah, I considered as well, since you're not going to pick up the KO on like bulky Kyogre with Power Whoop anyway, but Seed Bomb gets like a solid 2-hit KO, and it cannot miss. So yeah, I really like it if you guys are like posting any suggestions in the comments and any cool things to try out and about my plays and so on. So yeah, keep that going, and I hope you enjoyed this episode of Mark Us on Top. If you did, make sure to show your support by leaving a like, and maybe even subscribe to my channel. Thanks a lot. That's it for today. See you tomorrow. I will probably use a team with like Kyogre and Ho-Oh. At least that's what I'm trying to get together in game. Thanks so much for watching, and see you soon. Bye.